Okay, so I've unravelled a bit. There's my flare nut way the hell down there. So, redo day, back again. Something like that, but maybe a little straighter-ish. Right. You know, practice makes better. Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on YouTube. Dave here, not in the garage, currently at work filming a little intro for a video that I was just editing, the last video, which ended up being too long, so I've chopped it up a bit. So yeah, so this is the second part of the rear brake line video for the Area 51 project. Hopefully it goes a little better than the first part, because yeah, it was a bit of a fight, but we got the first part done. But we make some changes in this part and fix up a few things and do some more. So yeah, let's get at it. Okay, so next day, still raining, still having flooding and bridge washes away and stuff like that around this region, more over that way, and train got derailed because the lines got washed out and stuff, but pretty good here so far, so I'll carry on. It's currently not raining though, actually, but yeah, it has been raining heavy overnight, but good summer. But anyway, so where we leave off, we got the back kind of dialed in to pretty much where I want it, I think. Yeah, not perfectly symmetrical because of the way I made that bracket, but that's alright. Like I say, it's not going to be a mirrors under the bloody thing to show car, it just needs to function. Next up, I'm going to start planning and running out this main line up to the back. Unfortunately I can't move the body out because of the rain, and I'm going to have to try and work underneath it, which is not the end of the world. I'm going to be doing a fair bit of working underneath it at some point anyway, so might as well get used to it. So let's get at it, I guess. Get some more of this. I might actually straighten that out now, so I can straighten out a sort of decent length that'll get me from there to there. Put the flare nut on before I straighten it, because I've got to feed it all the way through a few obstacles and bend it around and shit like that. So let's do it. Okay, so I've unravelled a bit. There's my flare nut way the hell down there. Did my first flare and actually looked quite good, and then I realised I didn't put the flare nut on, and it was not a great flare, so I thought I'll chop it off and do it again, and there's the carnage since. There's a few practice ones that kind of didn't really pan out, but yeah, I need to get a decent flare tool, but that's the last flare I'm going to be doing on this part of the project for now. I might see if I can borrow big or steal or buy a decent flare tool to do the front. These ones will be alright. I think they'll seal alright. They just, the amount, you can just not getting them done that first time. So when you cut your stuff to length and then you got to cut another 20mm off it, another 20mm off it, it starts kind of like getting in your head. But anyway, so I'm going to route the brake line up to here, so I'm going to run it down through under here. I'm going to under this 4-link bracket. So I'm probably going to come along and out and around, or maybe about halfway up here, come across and out and over the top of that, come down. I could possibly sit over the top of that rather than go through it. Actually, I was going to go through it, but it might be better to go over the top. I mean, the body's not going to touch this, so there's a gap there potentially, and then because I'm going to have to run an ear line down here as well, so I might run the ear line through there, get the brake sort of up out of the way. But same sort of deal, we have to clip them up every 300mm, so I want to be able to double up on my clipping points with the ear line on one side, or ear lines going up to the front, so I want to run an ear line up either side. I've got to run a fuel line up that side, so I want to double up fuel line, ear line and brake line, and then fuel line and ear line on that side. So I've only got one set of, you know, fixing points all the way along there. That's my plan anyway. So yeah, so wherever I drill holes for fixing points on this end, I'm probably going to drill them again on the same on the other side, maybe when we get that far. Yeah, so let's get in and start figuring out how to route this big thing. These are a hassle, these doing these big long lengths, because they just want to go ba-ding, ba-ding all over the place, but you know, ba-ding. So I think, yeah, I'll start working my way from the back forward, I reckon. Alright, so really should just measure it. It might be simpler. Here's my tape measure. That being all technical and all that sort of stuff. This one's a little bit of whoop-de-woo in there for me trying to straighten it through my block of wood, which turned into more of a hassle than anything. Kind of relying on the wood more than my eyes, and I just ended up having wonky bits elsewhere. Okay, so I've got this far. As you might have seen on the video, I was kind of like, you know, had it all bent up a different way here. I've been kind of umming and ahhing about which is the best route to take with getting past this bracket. Over the top here, this cross member, I've got more room, and then from there it's just a clean shot right up the front. But this one here is the one that's kind of giving me the most grief. You know, could potentially go through that little gap there, but then I may have to move that up higher, you know, that bolt up higher, and then cut the bottom of this off. So I don't want to put it there. Scratch my leg. So I was going to kind of just come up here and across the top of this bracket, you know, but then that bit of Bundy would be kind of quite exposed. Now I could come up, bend it back, bend it around, and then across, which might be the way to go. I was thinking of bringing it across kind of quite close here and then pinning it here in the middle, because that's about roughly where I need to pin it anyway. But I'm wondering whether, I think it would be alright, because I mean the body's going to have rubber isolators and stuff between the chassis and whatnot, so it creates a bit of a gap, about, I don't know, 10 millimeters, half an inch type of thing. But if there's, you know, the body compresses and flexes and stuff like that, it could end up creating rub points. So I think I've answered my own question. I think I'm going to come back to where I kind of was, but come up across just a bit lower from the chassis top height and actually tuck it back in here and then back out. Seems a bit of a bloody rigmarole, but it is what it is. So I think that's what I'll do. Come across like that. Decided to go that route, like to loop around that bracket. Just, I don't know, it just feels a little bit less exposed that way, but less likely to get crushed by the body if the body sinks on its body mounts, if you know what I'm saying. It shouldn't happen, but you never know. So what I'm going to do now is climb in under this behemoth of a thing, try not to smash myself in the back constantly. and start actually kind of pinning this up, straightening it and pinning it as I go. Yeah, down there I've just got the rest of the reel kind of down there. There's not much left. I'm gonna have to get some more before I can do the front, which is all right. I mean, yeah, I don't really need to do the front at this point. I can do that once the body's back on, but before I put the sheet metal back on the front, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I'm going to start. I've been marked, there's 300mm marks in the vicinities of where I've got to put these P-clips for our low volume certification thingy here in New Zealand. And yeah, so these ones here, I'll drill and tap that one, and I'll drill and tap that one. The rest of them I'm going to use rivsets into the, because there's not these H-frames sort of, well, not H-frames, but they call them top hat style chassis on these sheds are pretty thin, so I want a little bit more thread to bite into. I could use Tech screws and stuff, but that's what I used on the truck, and I don't know, always kind of bothered me. It always felt like I was using roofing screws or something to hold this the brake lines, and they work, don't get me wrong, they work. They're just a self-tapper type thing, but I don't know, I've got these rivset tool, and I've got the rivsets, and I've got all the little stainless fasteners, so I might as well use the pretty stuff, even after wanking on about it not being a show thing underneath. That's just me justifying the other shitty stuff I'm doing. So I don't know, it's not shitty, it's just, you know, not like $100,000 brake line job stuff, you know. It's just me doing it in my garage here at DMAT Customs. Yeah, right, let's get at it. Right, one down, 746 to go. And the old rib nut in there. I had to take the this 4-link bar off just to be able to get the drill in there. So I've done that now. Hopefully I can get it back in there without too much. Oh, yeah, look at that. Perfect. Right, hopefully you can get the nut on there now. Nope. Right, I'll just put this back together and then we'll carry on. Slowly working my way along and managed to not snap the tap. So that's good. Hopefully that whole tap nice and clean. The first one was a bit weird actually. It didn't want to, the old this little button here didn't want to go into it for some reason, and took it back out and run the tap through it. It was nice and clean, and then I bolted it in again and it was fine. So I think it was actually just the spring washer and everything getting caught up on the old P-clip. You know what I'm saying? Another one down. Yeah. Some of these bits are still a little bit on the wonky side, but they're good enough, I think. I'm hoping. Alright, moving on. Coming into my little underneath the, I don't know what I'm kind of trying to say, but coming under here, drill some more holes. One of these going to fit under there. Yeah, sweet. Right, probably couldn't see anything because of that, but here we are, moving down the line. Alright. Get it a little bit straighter. I want to get it to sit up off of there. So next P-clip, it's Gonna go around about there, I reckon. Bear in mind I want to try and double up these P-clip mounting points with my ear line mounting points as well. So where's my ear line gonna run? That's the next question. Probably that might end up coming through next to it. And then bring it down, double up onto there. So maybe I would actually be better off with, if I go this way, mount it there, the ear line comes through, can P-clip off there and just run down parallel to it, yeah? Alright, with my punch, about there, and whack. Burning hot metal shavings on the back of the leg. Riv cert, riv nut, one of these, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they're, I call them riv nuts or riv certs. I think Americans call them riv certs, we call them riv nuts. Well, that's what I was introduced to them as. Yeah. Little pinch, there it is. Alright, so I wonder if I should actually get a measuring device now that I'm underneath here and make sure all of these holes are all kind of at the same level. The exhaust is going to run down through here. I think it should be fine. Worst case scenario is I have to put a heat shield in to protect the air lines and fuel lines and the brake lines. But I can't remember how close the exhaust runs to any of this stuff, so we'll just have to wait and see. It's all going to be a little bit different now anyway because the engine sits a bit lower than it used to. So I'll just find something to measure with that means I don't have to get out from under here, and then I'll make all of these holes the same height. I'm going to put them up this way. That way I can piggyback off them if the air line will run through just above it, you see? That's my plan anyway. So where do I want to put it? Get them nice and level looking, about there. Okay, black pen on a black chassis. Cannot see anything. Okay, so like that's the brake line run up to the front. Right where I've sort of finished it there, that's those mounts there, they're the front, very front kind of body mounts for the main body, the outrigger ones. So the brake line will probably bend sort of just after there and disappear up kind of behind the outrigger and then reappear on the firewall to go up to the master cylinder, which will be, you know, up there somewhere. So I might do a rough calculation and sort of cut off the bulk of that coil and just sort of coil up the rest of it and put a little plug on the end just to leave it until we're closer to getting the body back on. Then I can finish up the front when I put the master cylinder and booster in, and then you can take that up there. But for now, that's the back brake lines kind of done. Hopefully the flares are all good. They should be, though. I did used the same tools on the truck. Didn't have as much trouble with doing the truck stuff, but they leaked a little bit on the first kind of like bleed through, and then I just cranked them all up a bit tighter. And they have sealed, and they've been sealed ever since. So, I don't know. Hopefully. Right, I gotta climb out from under here because this is really kind of uncomfortable. And there's shavings all over the floor, and I've got shorts and jandals and shit on, so I want to kind of have maybe vacuum that shit up. Yeah. Okay, so here's me thinking I was kind of pretty much done back here, and then I was having just a little pondery look at it and stuff, and suddenly realised I've got to run the exhaust somewhere. So having this kind of offset decreases the amount of space I've got to run a U up here. There is a bit, it doesn't quite reach the bump stop, so it will end up going slightly lower than that, so it doesn't leave me a lot of room to get a exhaust pipe up through here because of that bloody hose pipe that I've there. This side there's heaps, we can probably run both of them out here and then scoot one across. And saying that, I'm not really 100% sure where I'm gonna run the exhaust out the back. I was thinking of just dumping it behind the back wheels, maybe. Yeah, don't know if you can. I think you can dump them in front of the diff now legally here in NZ, but not sure. So I'm just now contemplating whether I make a new bracket, rejig these brake lines in the back here again, and sort of at least sort of center it up, maybe pull it across to here-ish, which means battling with the flares and that again. This one here is probably long enough that I can just sort of smooth it out and bring it over to here. This one here may need to be shortened. So, redo, Dave. Back again. Yeah. There we go. I'll just take this back off again and have a little investigate. Probably should have left that on while I undid those, but I undo this and pull that out the way. Just hook that under there for now. If I can get that to land around about there, that kind of clears up that space there. So, have another look. Yeah, that might be the way to go. As long as I can get it to look neat-ish. Okay, so if I can make a bracket that lands it about there, that gets rid of that out that side there. So that's my plan. Alrighty, so hey, one step forward, two steps back. Anyway, you see the disappointment on my face, in myself, for not thinking of that. I've been planning that exhaust thing in my head for forever, but completely forgot about it when I was doing this brake line thing, all in the name of recycling this bracket. Now, with that being said, I'm going to recycle this bracket again, but I'm going to slice that off there and just make a new piece that comes up and goes straight across the top. Maybe recycle that? No, I'll just cut this off and make a new bit. So yeah, let's get at that. Oh, how am I going to do this? Just like that with my grinder. Zip disc, power supply, safety wear, gloves, safety ears, and let's just get into it. Can I reuse? No, that's just, I'll find another piece. Alright, got my metal filings covered scissors out. I'm just going to make up a template to make up a new bit that goes over the back there. How big do I want it? So I'll go back there. I'll start with a strip like that, so I can kind of just weld it on there. Fold about there. Not fold that over. So if I weld it straight on there like that, it's a little bit on the wide side at the moment. And then there's my hole, there's the pattern. Alright. Let's do this. So around about there, you reckon? If I slice that off about there. Nice and simple. Like that. Could actually just go yeah, something like that, but maybe a little straighter-ish. Right, let's go and make one of them. The old off-cut drawer. There we go. What's that? That might do. That looks like, oh, look at that, it's even half ready. Yeah. Dotted line for my fold, just so I remember that it's a fold, not a what's it, a cut. Something like that, I reckon. Alright, there's my little bit folded up. I've got to figure out where I've got to tack it onto or weld it onto on that other bracket, and then bring that back over here and do some welding. Okay, so got my little bracket. Just, oh, she's still quite warm. Just been doing a little bit of trimmaging on it. I'm thinking I might actually sit it behind, like weld it, do a lap joint type of thing on this now. Reason being, no real reason, just, I don't know, I could still butt weld it. Butt welding it probably be neater, I guess, but I just thought about doing it that way. So if I just scribe a line across there, like so, and then I'll weld it on right there. Either way, lap joint, butt weld, one of the two. Take this back off. Alright, let's go. Vice grips on there, on my line. Alright, adjust them. Right there, like that. And then, is that on my line? Pretty much, I reckon. And then I might just do a little tickety tick across there and hopefully do a nice job of it. Seen people do this on YouTube, they wrap it around their neck. It's kind of like really strangly, so give it a try. Not bad, it's not too bad for an amateur like me. Ooh. Now, is it going to be necessary to weld the inside? Probably not, but I might just do it just for a bit of practice anyway, because, you know, practice makes better. I'll get into it. See anything? I know. Just like that. Use the vice grips in the vice. What do I do with my welding stick? Like this. I keep getting my wrist on a nerve when I'm trying to rest my wrist on things, and it ends up going. But yeah. Anyway, let's do this. It's welded. It's not like, you know, it's not terrible, but it's welded. Alrighty, so there's my little TIG welder. It came out alright, eh? Not bad for a little amateur who's never had an actual formal lesson in his life. That was the underside. That was a little bit messier, but it'll hold till it doesn't, and then I'll make a new one. But yeah, on the whole, that's kind of a paintable piece. Once I've drilled the hole and done the final kind of cleanup, I might just kind of like take some of the scale off, and that's about it really. I've just got to work out now where to drill the hole for my rib cert, and then I'll chuck a rib cert in there. These vice grips are getting quite hot. Punch. That's where I'm going to drill my hole for my rib cert, and then rib nut, rib cert, rib nut, rib cert. And then I'll give them a clean up, give them a bit of paint, and then whatever's next. Oh, shortening up that bloody line, that track brake line. Oi, oi, oi. Oh well. Right. Drill bits. Safety wear. Power stance. Go. Tighten, chuck up. Go. There we go. Need to do a 9mm hole for the roof set. Power stance, ready, go. Bodgy together. Safety wear, fogging up. Right, so go give a rib cert and chuck it in there. Okay, what I actually just said was, gotta go get a rib cert and chuck it in there. When just as I was walking past the camera after I said that, I thought that was completely unintelligible. Not very good English. Boom, and a little pinch. Boom, did I put it around right? Yes, I did. And one of those moments there I thought, hang on, I'll just put this in back to front, but nah, pretty sure I haven't. Never say never though. Alright. What else was I going to do? Might give it a little bit of a wire wheel, just to get any of that old excess old paint off, and file finish. That's what I do with all my panel work and that. It's really rough, but I just go over at the end with a file, and then I say it's file finished, and you can just cover it in bulk. Yeah, I'll give this a wire wheel. There's a bit of old paint on there. Alright, so that's it all wire wheeled up. I just might chuck a bit of, should I paint that now? Or should I? Yeah, I'll chuck a bit of primer on that, and then chuck a bit of black lacquer on there just to get it drying fast. And while that's drying, I can be shortening up that other line maybe somehow. Okay, hopefully you can see this, but check that out. See how it's gone all flat? And that's actually supposed to be a gloss paint, and that's because there's too much moisture and humidity in the air at the moment. It's humid. I mean, it's like Hawaii humid fly, and yeah, it's just like lacquer just soaks up the moisture, and that's just this cheap rattle can lacquer. So you come in quite a dry day if you're going to be doing that, or heat your room up or whatever. But I'm going to just kind of heat this up a little bit, squirt some of this on it, and then just try to dry it off a bit quicker. The old Wagner helps if you switch it on at the wall. Yeah. Not too worried about the underside that much. I just want to get a bit more of a gloss on that top side there, like that. It's real weird paint. It goes on quite stiffly, but it flattens off quite nicely. Still a bit soft, but it's actually starting to heat up a bit now, so I won't put too much more heat on it. See what that does. If it flattens off again, I'm just going to chuck it on. It's not that big a deal, but heaps of satin black and gloss black bits on this anyway, so you know what I'm saying. Just that is it. Alrighty, so new bracket in place. The gloss held this time with a bit of heat on it, and cut down that bit of Bundy, cut about that much off it. That flare was actually a bit sketchy. I'm quite glad I found that. But now I'm questioning all the others, but we won't worry about it just yet. We'll try and forget about it and worry about it when there's a leak. But yeah, so that should hopefully now give me a little bit more room if I choose to. I'm not saying it's set in concrete yet, but if I choose to run the old an exhaust up over the top here, it's not going to be a big like 3-inch thing or whatever. It'll probably only be 2 1/4 or whatever it is, 2 1/2 inch. I'm going to come up and just suck it straight shot through there, and same again on this side. This side heaps of room, this side not so much because the pumpkin's offset in these ball Warner diffs. Yeah, and got a whole bunch of tools out again, made a big mess. Still haven't cleaned up my mess from before, got distracted by this, and now yeah, we're back to where I was about an hour ago. That's where we're going to leave this video at plumbing up some red brake lines on the old Area 51. It's a bit of a shit fight. It's just, I know they say you're blaming your tools and that, but yeah, have the right tools for that job, it would have gone way quicker. Yesterday, especially when I broke part of the tool, then I had to figure out if I could make a fix on it rather than going out and buying another tool. But yeah, so that's where we're going to leave that one. If you haven't subscribed and you want to see some more of this tomfoolery and this clown trying to do these things, make sure you subscribe, hit the button, and yeah, thanks again for watching as always, and until next time, take it easy, peace.